The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council floated above a golden world, shining like a jewel in the void. Inside the hall, hundreds of alien races gathered, tall, armored beings, slim, glowing ones, creatures of gas, stone, and machines. All stood in silence as Earth's representative walked onto the silver platform. He was a short man compared to the towering species around him, dressed in a simple black suit, his face calm, his expression unreadable. A small Earth flag blinked. On the screen behind him, "I speak for Earth," he said. "We request entry into the Galactic Council. We offer alliance, trade, peace." A long silence followed. Then laughter, loud mocking, echoing through the chamber. One counselor, a massive lizard-like general from the Crate Dominion, slammed his tail on the ground and growled, "Peace." From coal-burning monkeys, another alien, thin and glowing with blue light, leaned forward. "You want trade? You barely have control over your own moon." More laughter. Some aliens even clapped in amusement. "They're still using fossil fuel." Someone shouted, "They can't even protect their oceans. Why don't they send smoke signals next time?" The man from Earth stood quietly. He didn't respond. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He simply smiled. Then, with a slight movement of his fingers barely noticed, he pressed a hidden device in his sleeve. A silent signal was sent across the stars. The mocking continued as the human's representative stepped down from the platform and walked toward the exit. But something in his smile made one or two of the older counselors uneasy. A tremor, a warning they couldn't explain. Far away, on Earth, beneath the crashing waves of the Pacific Ocean, giant metal doors slid open. From the depths rose Shadow's colossal warships, black as space, their surfaces smooth and deadly. No lights, no signals, just rising death. In a command center, buried inside a mountain, silent humans watched screens light up one by one. "Signal received," a woman said, her voice cold. "Phase 1 initiated," replied the admiral. Dozens of commanders stood inside the command room. The map before them showed the galaxy, and slowly, systems started blinking red. Back at the Galactic Council, news began to arrive slow, confusing, terrifying. A deep space listening station on the edge of the Empire had gone dark. No warning, no damage reports, just nothing. Empire sent a patrol ship, it vanished too. All gone. Some believed it was a space storm. Others blamed pirates. But one scientist from the neutral Zachary race stood and whispered to his assistant, "I don't think this is nature. I think this is human." The assistant laughed. Humans. The council just laughed them out of the room. The scientist didn't laugh. He remembered the human's face. That quiet smile in a dark chamber deep in the Crate Dominion's capital. High General Crore watched footage sent by one of their patrol ships just before it vanished. The video was shaky, full of static. But for 1 second, just 1 second, something passed in front of the ship, a black shape, huge, silent, faster than light. It didn't fire, it didn't speak, it simply moved past, and the screen turned black. What was that? Crore demanded Dot. No one answered. They didn't know, no one did. In the following days, more systems went silent. Not just military basis communication relays, cargo stations, even entire moons stopped responding. Sometimes there was wreckage. Sometimes nothing at all. No survivors, no messages. Just silence. In the Galactic Council, fear started to spread. "We are under attack," one counselor shouted. "By who?" Another asked. "Pirates, AI, rebels." No one said humans. Not yet. They didn't want to believe it. They couldn't. But then came the message. It played on every channel, every screen, every device in the galaxy. It showed a map of the stars. A calm voice spoke. "We came to you in peace. You laughed. You insulted. You saw Earth as weak. You saw us as a joke." The screen showed images of Earth's burning forests, its polluted skies, starving children, bombed cities, all real, all history. Then it showed secret training facilities, sleeper fleets hiding in the dark, Titan-class warships under the ice, AI armies waiting for a single command. The voice continued. "We do not seek your counsel anymore. We do not need your protection. We remember your laughter. And now you will remember ours." The screen turned black. Then the systems began to fall faster. Entire sectors burned. The Empire's fleets tried to respond, but the enemy never appeared. On radar, their weapons overloaded shields. Their ships melted armor in seconds. One Empire ship reported being torn apart by a silent force field wave. Another simply disappeared. Refugees began arriving from the Edge systems. Black ships, they whispered, with no lights, no names, just death. They didn't fire. They just appeared, and everything died. "Earth is doing this," said one captain. "Earth has become something else. In the Galactic Council's chamber, emergency meetings were held daily. The humans were no longer seen as a joke. Now they were a ghost in the dark." One counselor shouted, "How did we miss this? How did Earth hide this from us?" An old Zarn scholar answered, "Because we were too busy laughing." And somewhere deep in space, aboard the lead human flagship, the man who once stood in that grand chamber watched the chaos unfold, alone, looking at a star chart, one by one. Systems blinked red. A quiet officer stepped forward. "Sir, the next wave is ready." The man nodded. "Let them know," he said. "This is only the beginning." He looked into the dark screen and whispered almost kindly, "You should not have laughed." Then the war truly began. The edge of the Zarnik's border was quiet, too quiet. Commander Revik, a seasoned officer of the Crate Dominion, sat aboard the patrol ship Stormbreaker. His crew was restless. For 2 days now, they had tried to contact Station Threx 9, a deep space listening post guarding one of the Empire's most vital trade routes. No response, no signal, no debris, just silence. He stared at the dark screen. "Any updates?" "Nothing, Commander." His communications officer said, "No transmission, no heat signatures. It's like the station, just vanished." "Send another ping." The officer obeyed. A signal burst through space. They waited nothing. Rev Ek narrowed his eyes. "Prepare to jump closer. I want visual confirmation." The crew tensed. Ships didn't just go silent. Even during pirate attacks, someone managed to scream before death as the Stormbreaker dropped out of warp near Station Threxnine's last known location. What they saw made every crew member fall into stunned silence. There was no station, no wreckage, no orbiting debris, only a faint, wide burn mark stretched across space like a scar, glowing softly in the void by the stars. Whispered the pilot. "Scan the area," Revik ordered. The scanners flickered. Nothing. Then a sudden burst of static, then a whisper. It was human speech, old Earth dialect, low and cold. "We are the silence you created." "The ship lights?" Flickered. Revik stood up. "Shields up. Get us out of here." But before the engines could charge, everything froze. The controls stopped responding. The lights dimmed. Outside the window, the void itself seemed to pulse, and from the dark, something moved, a shape massive, smooth, and black as the night. No windows, no lights, just a long, flat structure sliding across the stars like a predator. It didn't fire, it didn't speak, it just passed above them slow, deliberate, and vanished into the darkness. The Stormbreaker's systems came back online 10 seconds later. All screens blinked red. Revik's face turned pale. "Record everything, send it to command." Now the officer hit the transmit button, but the signal jammed. "There comes failed" again. The Stormbreaker was stranded. Then another voice echoed across their speakers, this time in perfect crate language. "You mocked Earth. Now you'll understand silence." The ship shook violently. Lights exploded, the engine room caught fire. And in one final blinding flash, the Stormbreaker was gone. Back in the Empire's command center, the live feed cut to black. General Tarvik slammed his fist against the console. "Another ship gone?" "Yes, General," said his aide. "No escape pods, no black box signal, just vanished. Who's doing this? We don't know. But the survivors from Outpost Zeta spoke of a black ship, no markings, no light, impossible." Tarvik growled. "Only humans use stealth holes like that, but they don't have the tech to destroy entire stations like this." The aide hesitated. "Sir, maybe they do now." Tarvik paused, then shook his head. "No, Earth is weak. Their forces are scattered. Their tech is outdated." But as he turned away, his second aide entered the room with panic on his face. "Sir, we've lost contact with 3 more outposts in Sector 9, and 1 colony on Yara Prime has gone dark. Civilians, no distress call." Silence fell. Red lights were spreading, fast. "Someone is testing us," he whispered. Across the stars, panic was rising. The Galactic Council gathered again. The Crate Dominion, the Thrain Alliance, and the neutral Orcs Confederation all demanded answers. "We are under coordinated attack," shouted one ambassador. "Pirates don't do this. This is a war." "But from whom?" asked another. "There's no demand, no message, just death." One of the older council members, a soft-spoken Zarn, raised a hand. "I think," he said slowly, "this is Earth." Laughter rose again, but softer this time, uneasy. "Earth?" someone asked. "The primitives." "They were primitives," the Zarn replied. "But maybe they evolved," while we laughed. A heavy silence. Followed dot, then a video feed began playing on one of the massive screens above the chamber. It was an intercepted message, a human voice. The first strike was a warning. "You are not safe. You never were." Back on Earth, inside. The hidden mountain facility, Admiral Lee stood in front of a glowing star map. Red zones spread across the galaxy like cracks in glass. A young officer approached. "Admiral, Phase 1, complete. 24 enemy assets destroyed. No detection, no survivors." Lee nodded. "And casualties?" "None, sir." All remote-controlled. She stared at the screen. "The Council will start to suspect. They already do." Lee turned toward a smaller hologram message feed from the human envoy, who once stood at the council meeting. He was watching them all panic. The old man smiled. "I told them," he said. "We watched, we prepared, and now we respond." Admiral Lee gave a grim nod. "Phase 2, ready. Shall we begin?" "Not yet," she said. "Let the fear grow. Let them ask each other. Who is next?" Across the Empire, fear turned into paranoia. Ships refused to travel without heavy escorts. Outposts demanded more troops. And still, black ships came never seen, never heard. Systems blinked off. Trade routes died. Communications failed. Entire planets went dark overnight, and in every place struck. The only thing left behind was a message carved into stone or steel. "You laughed at Earth." In a hidden chamber aboard a neutral station, a group of smugglers shared rumors. "They say the humans found something ancient," said one. "A war AI no one could control." "No," said another. "They were building ships in secret, under oceans, inside moons." "They've had sleeper agents in the Empire for years," whispered a third. They waited, watching. An old man leaned in. "You know the real reason the Empire fears Earth now?" Everyone turned. "They're not attacking for power," he said. "They're doing this for silence. For every insult, every slap, every time we called them nothing." The others looked at each other, and for the first time, none of them laughed. In a dark command ship drifting silently beyond the edge of the stars, the lead AI aboard the Eclipse-class war carrier received a new order. Designation, Phase 2. Its synthetic voice replied, "Acknowledged." Targeting new sectors, 10 black ships unfolded their wings like shadows in the dark. They did not roar, they did not glow. They moved forward, and the stars behind them vanished. Captain Velron stood at the bridge of the ISS Vortex, one of the Empire's elite patrol cruisers. Her eyes stared at the black screen ahead. No stars, no signals, no sound. The ship drifted near Sector 18, where 4 Empire patrol ships had gone silent over the last 8 hours. "This sector is cursed," her first officer mumbled. Velron didn't reply. She'd been in service for 20 years, patrolled every border, but never had she felt space this quiet. "Scan again," she ordered. The sensors operator replied, "Still no heat signatures, no transmissions, no signs of debris." "It's like they were never here." Velron narrowed her eyes. "Ships don't just vanish. Keep shields at full and begin slow sweep pattern. Weapons hot." The crew obeyed, hands moving across glowing consoles. The engines purred. Lights steady, but the silence outside pressed against the hull like a heavy blanket. No movement, no stars, just void dot. Then it came, a faint signal, a whisper through the static. The communications officer's hands shook, picking up something very faint. "Play it," Velron said. A low voice filled the bridge, distorted, cold, should have respected Earth. Everyone froze. Velron's mouth went dry. "Run that again?" The voice repeated, clearer this time. "You should have respected Earth. The signal ended. Silence returned. The weapons officer whispered, "Ma'am, that was human standard." Velrun stared ahead. "But humans don't have this kind of range." "That came from deep in the void. No known ship can transmit. That far, Captain? Unless it was already here," she muttered suddenly. The lights flickered. The engines whined. One by one, systems began to shut down. EMP wave. Someone shouted, "We're being hit with a pulse," and then the ship went dark. The emergency lights glowed red. The bridge was silent except for panicked breathing. The outer hull cameras stayed online for 5 seconds longer. That was enough. From the dark ahead, something began to move. A shape, long, flat, blacker than space itself. No windows, no markings. It didn't reflect light, it swallowed it. The AI finally stuttered back online and identified it. Unknown class, unknown origin, unknown technology, danger, level 10. Velrun whispered, "It's them, the humans." But before she could speak another word, the bridge was flooded with static. Screams came from the lower decks. A crewman yelled, "Something's inside the ship." Velrun stood up. "Security report." No answer. On the screen, a final message appeared from the invader's transmission. "You called us ghosts, now feel our silence." And then the ISS vortex vanished from all known records. The Empire's emergency center lit up like a battlefield. Sirens, red screens, scattered voices. Sector 18 was now completely dark. General Tarvik, already worn and tired, slammed his fist on the desk. That's 5 ships in one day. His staff stood in silence. Still no enemy ship sighted. No wreckage, no survivors. Just silence. An officer pulled up the last known transmission from the vortex. Everyone watched the flickering recording. The voice, the black shadow, and that whisper, "You should have respected Earth." A cold dread settled over the room. Tarvik leaned forward. "What the hell did we miss? How could Earth do this?" No one spoke. Then the intelligence chief stepped forward. Her voice was quiet. "Sir, I've reviewed old Earth files. During the last 2 centuries, they built secret programs, black budgets, depotion construction. Some believed Earth was building war tech not even their own governments knew about." "You're saying they were preparing for this?" Tarvik asked. "Yes," she replied silently. While the galaxy laughed, Tarvik clenched his jaw. "Then we're at war, and we didn't even see the first strike." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, rumors spread like wildfire. At a spaceport on the neutral world of Veros, travelers gathered around a screen showing smuggled footage of the black human ship. It wasn't clear, but enough to cause fear. A traitor. Whispered they call it the Void class. No engines, no noise, just appears and kills. Another added, they move through dark space between mapped routes. Even warp gates don't track them. A third leaned in, and before they strike, they always send a message. You know what it says? The others shook their heads. This is the price of laughter. Inside a hidden data core on a moon near Earth, Admiral Lee received new logs. Her officers stood silently as the red dots continued to spread across the star map. "How many sectors now?" she asked. 8, her assistant replied, and 3 more showing come silence. No known threats remain in those zones. Lee walked to the glass window, watching a massive ship dock outside the Obsidian Storm. An AI-controlled war cruiser that had been sleeping under Earth's crust for 100 years. She spoke calmly, and still they don't understand. Assistant looked confused. "Ma'am, they still think we're angry because they laughed." "But we're not," Lee said. "We're doing this because they let us suffer. They watched Earth burn and mocked it." She turned to the command screen, deploy second wave. No survivors. The Empire, desperate and confused, launched Operation Fireclaw. A massive sweep, Mission 50 ships deployed into the zones recently. Attacked. Their job, find the enemy, fight back, or die trying. But no one came back. Not one. One ship managed to send out a short message before losing signal. "Enemy everywhere. We can't see them. They're already inside." Then static. That message was all the Empire got. In response, the Council of Systems met in secret. For the first time in centuries, old enemies sat side by side. The Thrain ambassador whispered. "Do we talk peace?" "With who?" asked the Crate General. "We mocked them. humiliated them. You think they want peace now? No, a soft voice answered. It was the old Zarn. They want us to feel like they did, small, helpless, and forgotten. And outside the chamber, the stars flickered as black ships moved through the night. Unnoticed in one corner of the galaxy, on a mining colony orbiting a red star. Workers noticed something strange. Their long-range scanners picked up a HFY ship moving without warp signature. It hovered for 1 hour. No sound, no contact. Then it fired. The colony turned to dust in 1 second. No survivors, and then, like a ghost, the ship vanished. The Council finally sent a message to Earth. Let us talk. We regret the past. We want peace. Earth's response came in a cold, single sentence. Now you remember us. Back on Earth, the human envoy who once stood before the Galactic Council sat in silence. He was no longer a diplomat. Now he was a symbol, a message, a memory. A commander stepped beside him. We've made our point. Do we stop? The envoy didn't move. No, not yet. But they're begging for peace now. Good, he replied. Let them beg longer. He looked up at the stars. They called us ghosts. Let's haunt them a little more. The Galactic Empire had never known fear like this. Across the star systems, panic spread faster than light. Trade routes had collapsed, outposts had vanished. Soldiers refused patrols near the border zones. Colonies reported shadows in space, huge, silent shapes that came and went like ghosts in the heart of the Empire. The capital world of Severin Prime was on high alert. The skies above the city were filled with defense drones, carriers, and orbital shields. A meeting had been called inside the Imperial War Chamber, a place once used for dealing with pirate wars and minor border disputes. Now it faced a silent enemy that never showed its face. We have lost 27 systems in the past 10 days. General Tarvik roared, slamming his fist on the table. The council chamber remained quiet. Entire fleets gone, no wreckage, no escape pods, and still no name. For our enemy, one scientist raised a shaking hand. We believe it's Earth. Another chuckled. Earth. We crushed them economically decades ago. Their planet was dying. Exactly, said the scientist. They had nothing to lose. Everyone paused. A crate noble with green scales leaned forward. Then we make them lose the rest. General? Tarvik nodded. Deploy Strike Fleet Hammerfall. 200 warships. Head for the Sol System. Burn Earth if needed. We end this now. The fleet left Severin Prime like a storm of metal and fire-massive ships, carriers, dreadnoughts, and destroyers. 200 vessels in perfect formation. No enemy in the galaxy had ever stood against such power. At the fleet's center, Admiral Vernax sat inside the command ship Judica. He was tall, cold, and confident. Open a broadcast, he said. A screen blinked on. The image of Earth's moon appeared. This is Admiral Vernax of the Empire. You are hereby ordered to stand down. Any resistance will be destroyed. Your time is over. The message was sent. No reply came. The fleet continued forward. But as they entered the Sol System, something felt wrong. The space was empty. No satellites, no ships, no defense platforms, not even basic beacons. It was as if Earth had abandoned its own system. This is strange, muttered a young officer. Perhaps they ran, Admiral Vernax said with a smirk. Cowards, but deep inside something didn't feel right. They moved past Mars. Still, nothing. They reached Earth's orbit. The blue planet spun quietly below clouds calm, continents still. No orbital defenses detected, reported the scanner tech. Prepare landing fleets, Vernax ordered. Take control of their capital, cities. I want this over quickly. Then the main radar lit up. Unknown signal incoming. Where? Everywhere. All at once, the empty void lit up with hundreds and no thousands of heat signatures. They were buried under the oceans, hidden in the ice caps. Cloaked inside asteroid fields, dark, massive warships rose like shadows, human-made, covered in black armor, with glowing red eyes that tracked their targets. The Empire had walked into a trap. Admiral Vernax jumped to his feet, shields up. All ships battle formation Delta. Too late, the first wave of fire came from beneath. The oceans. Titan-class cannons burst through the clouds. Earth's waters split as AI warships rose and fired simultaneously. 5 Empire destroyers exploded in a chain reaction before they could react. Then came the orbital platforms, stealthed in low orbit, invisible until now. They opened fire with beams that cut through shields like paper. "They've turned the entire system into a death field," screamed one officer. "Fire back!" Vernac shouted. The Empire's fleet launched missiles, lasers, nukes, but the human warships vanished. Reappeared, shifted through unknown tech. Their weapons were stronger, smarter, faster from the Earth's surface. The human command center inside Mount Turan lit up with data. "Enemy fleet engaging," said Commander Nea. "Their capital ship is now in range." "Fire Titan Lance," Admiral Lee ordered calmly. The massive cannon hidden under Antarctica glowed with power. Then, in a single shot, it fired in orbit. The Judicator Vornax's ship was struck at the center. A massive hole tore through its core. It broke in half. Vernax didn't have time to scream. The Empire fleet panicked. Ships tried to flee, but the warp gates around Sol had been jammed. Others tried to hide, but Earth's satellites tracked them. Within 20 minutes, over half the fleet was gone. The rest tried to surrender. Earth didn't respond. Back in the Imperial War Chamber, the silence was unbearable. "They're gone?" the Emperor asked. General Tarvik stood like a ghost. "All of them, not even a distress signal," the Emperor whispered. "We sent 200 ships." Tarvik looked up, eyes filled with fear, and Earth destroyed them like dust. Number 1 laughed this time. Across the galaxy, systems began to back away from the Empire. On neutral planets, the broadcasts of Earth's silent trap were played over and over. Viewers watched as black warships rose from Earth's oceans like ancient monsters. They saw fleets explode without warning. They saw the Empire's might crushed, and the message came again, this time not a whisper, but a broadcast. "We offered peace, you offered mockery. This is our reply." Aboard the hidden Earth command ship Shadowfall, the human envoy who once stood before the Galactic Council stood quietly in front of a window. Beside him, a young officer whispered, "The Empire is broken. Should we continue?" He turned slowly, his eyes calm. "Continue. Let the stars learn." In the ruins of Siverin Prime's war room, General Tarvik received another message. This time, it wasn't a threat. It was a simple image, a fleet of human warships 10,000 strong gathering near the edge of the Zarnik's line. No words, just firepower and a warning. General Tarvik stared at the hologram, his face pale and speechless. 10,000 human warships, silent, waiting just beyond the Zarnik's line. They hadn't attacked yet. They didn't need to. Their message was clear. "We are here, and we are ready." Behind him, a messenger stepped in quietly. "Sir, something's happened on Titan?" Tarvik turned slowly. "Titan, that's a mining colony." "Was, sir," the man said. "It's gone." In deep space, near Saturn's largest moon, the Empire's station outpost Titanus IV floated quietly. It was meant to be a simple mining hub, small security, a few dozen workers, and one old destroyer in orbit for show. They never expected war to reach them. Inside, Chief Engineer Boren was checking drill stats when the power flickered. He tapped the panel. "Come on, not again!" A low rumble echoed through the station. Then the alarms screamed. "Boren, to command deck. What's going on?" No answer. He rushed through the narrow halls, past workers yelling and running. As he reached the viewing bay, he froze. The moon's surface, quiet for centuries, was opening. Metal doors slid apart under the ice, releasing massive clouds of steam. And from beneath the surface, dark, sharp-edged ships rose one by one. "They were under us the whole time," someone whispered. "The human warships didn't waste time. They fired directly into orbit." The Empire's destroyer exploded in one hit. Then the colony itself was hit with precision strikes. Power grid first, communication center second. There were no random blasts. This was surgical, clean, merciless, back at the Imperial War Chamber. "Red lights flashed across the galactic map, sir," an officer shouted. "They've hit our outposts on Titan Europa and Ganymede, all 3 moons." "Casualties?" General Tarvik asked. "All gone, no survivors. Estimated deaths 10,000. Tarvik closed his eyes. They're not just hitting military zones anymore. They're cutting off our future. He turned to the Emperor. Sir, they've turned our own colonies into weapons. The Emperor stood slowly. How is that possible? They've been planning this for decades, Tarvik whispered. They built weapons under our noses on our moons, in our minds. While we laughed, they were loading the guns. On Europa, a small science outpost tried to send a distress call. Human ships have risen from beneath the ice. The scientists screamed. They've activated static. Nothing more was heard. Then the screen went black. Inside Earth's hidden war command, Admiral Lee watched as moon after moon lit up with successful strikes. Status, she asked. Commander Naya replied, Titan, secured, Ganymede sterilized, Europa's threat level 0. Total enemy casualties, 11,432. No human losses. Good, Lee said. She turned to a wide monitor. It showed videos of the Empire's laughing faces from years ago when Earth begged for help and was mocked. Let them see now, Lee whispered. Let every moon burn with memory. The message spread fast. Footage leaked from the moon's Empire soldiers, screaming, running, silenced by invisible weapons. Entire bases crumbling in seconds. One message survived the chaos. They're not humans anymore. They're something else. In a small bar on the trade station, Golvos 3, civilians sat around a dim holoscreen. A grizzled trader whispered, Europa's gone, a miner replied. So's Titan and Ganymede. All wiped out, like ghosts came from the ground. A silence hung over them. Then someone asked, why are they doing this? The trader answered, because we didn't listen. Across the Empire, panic became chaos. Families fled border systems. Fleet officers refused orders. Even governors started leaving their posts. Every moon in the human system had turned into a weapon and no one had known. Now the galaxy was asking. The question no one wanted to ask, what else had Earth hidden? In the stars near Neptune's orbit, a final Empire scout ship passed too close to a drifting asteroid, or so they thought. The asteroid split in two. Inside was a long, dark ship, smooth, silent, blacker than space. The human warship activated. AI dreadnought with no crew, no emotion. It opened fire. The scout ship was gone before it could blink. Inside Earth's intelligence archive, deep beneath the surface of the Andes Mountains, an AI named Vigil processed thousands of intercepted transmissions. One stood out. A message from an Empire admiral to his fleet. Do not approach the Sol system. Earth is no longer part of the galaxy. It is death. Vigil added the quote to the Earth Memorial database. Then it sent a new signal to the war fleet. Activate the Mars Lance. The Martian surface trembled. Once red and dusty, now hollow and armed, a cannon the size of a city rose from beneath Olympus, Monk's the tallest mountain in the system. It pointed toward deep space. Coordinates locked target, an Empire fleet staging near Alpha Centauri. The blast traveled faster than anything seen before. A sun-bright beam sliced through 4 ships instantly. 2 more exploded from the shockwave. By the time the light faded, the Empire's forward fleet was gone. Back at the Galactic Council, arguments turned to shouts. They're using planets as weapons, shouted a counselor. They said nothing for years. Another cried, we gave them nothing, and now they give us fire. The old Zarn elder sat quietly. It was never about revenge, he said softly. It was about memory, someone asked. Then what do we do? Another answered. Pray they stop. Inside the Earth command ship, black silence. The envoy who once stood humiliated at the Galactic Council received a message. From the Empire, a plea, we seek peace. The envoy read the words, then replied with one line, you should have sought it before the moons woke. And across the stars from every moon that once held silence, fire continued to rise. Earth had hidden its strength. Now it had unchained it. The Empire was breaking. Across the galaxy, its fleets were scattered, its commanders confused, and its people terrified. Systems that once shouted orders now whispered rumors. No one trusted warp routes. No one believed in safety. Every dark shadow in space felt like a human warship. On the outer rim, Admiral Karras of the Thrain Alliance paced inside the war room of Station Syraxis. His fleet had not been attacked yet, but reports came daily. Earth's black ships were appearing. in systems they had never visited before. "They're spreading like a virus," he said to his senior officers, appearing where no one expects them. One of his captains nodded. "They've hit 23 systems in just 5 days. No warnings, no messages, just destruction." Karos slammed his hand against the table. "We should have crushed Earth when they first asked to join the council." Another officer whispered, "But we didn't. We laughed." In deep space, the human flagship Void Rain floated in perfect silence. It didn't shimmer or pulse like other ships. It was a long spear of black metal, surrounded by a fleet of automated DREAD NOUGHTS. Inside, the AI commander shade received fresh battlefield data. "Status update." It spoke in a calm, empty voice. The system displayed a galactic map of red zones blinking with collapsed enemy structures. Shade's voice echoed, cold and exact. "Enemy morale, 18%. Fleet cohesion, failing. Civilians, evacuating core worlds. Resistance, dropping." Another display showed messages intercepted from the Empire. Some screamed for help, some begged for peace. All were ignored. On the capital world, Siverin Pime, the Emperor of the Galactic Empire sat in his dark chamber. The once mighty ruler looked tired, thin, and hollow. He hadn't slept in days. His guards had left, his generals were dead or missing. His ministers had either fled or surrendered. Now, only the silence remained. A single screen blinked in front of him. It showed the latest image captured by a deep space probe, Earth's system, now locked down by 10,000 black warships, surrounded by a ring of planetary cannons and automated death zones. The Sol system had become a fortress. No entry, no exit, only fire. The Emperor whispered, "We mocked them." He closed his eyes and remembered the day Earth stood before the Council asking for peace. He had laughed the loudest elsewhere in the galaxy. Smaller systems began sending messages directly to Earth. A world called Varan-6, once loyal to the Empire, sent a broadcast. "We apologize. We offer our knowledge, technology, and supplies. Please do not destroy us." No reply came, only silence. But the silence said enough. Varan-6 turned off its Empire flags that same day. At a refugee station near the Broken Belt, thousands gathered to watch an intercepted human broadcast. It was played on every screen, repeating again and again, "We asked for respect. You gave us mockery. Now you will feel what we felt for as long as we did." No one spoke. No one moved. Even children sat silently that night. The stars above the station shimmered then. Dimmed as a fleet of black ships passed overhead. They didn't fire. They didn't stop. But everyone knew what it meant. They see. U.S. Back in Earth's deep command chamber beneath the Pacific, Admiral Lee met with the Council of Command. Her voice was calm. "Reports." Commander Nea replied, 77 enemy installations neutralized. No human deaths." Lee nodded. "Phase 3. Ready?" She turned to the center of the room, where a digital map showed the Saren core, a powerful fuel sector guarded by 5 Empire starbases. "End them quietly." "Yes, Admiral." In the Saren core, 5 starbases floated around a blue gas giant. They were well armed, full of soldiers, and supported by long-range weapons platforms. The Empire still believed they were untouchable, at least, until the power flickered. Then the gravity systems failed. Then the shields collapsed. Then the hulls tore apart slowly, eyes and tearing through metal like paper. One soldier managed to scream into his comms, "It's not war, it's extinction." Then silence. Aboard the Void Rain, Shade recorded the Saren core data. "Sector neutralized," it said. A new signal came in, an old voice, the human envoy. "Begin the message," he said. The Galactic Council, now fewer in number, gathered for what might be their final meeting. Tired faces, quiet voices, fear in every eye. Then the message played. The human envoy appeared. Older now, still calm, still composed, he said one line, "We are not at war, we are teaching." Then the screen went black. On a quiet planet near the galactic edge, a child asked her mother, "What does he mean?" The mother, with tears in her eyes, replied, "He means we're finally listening." In the blackness beyond the stars, Earth's fleet didn't move forward. They waited, watching, waiting for the galaxy to understand the lesson. They didn't need to conquer. They didn't need to shout. The silence was enough. The silence screamed louder than any gun ever could. The galaxy had changed. Where once there were proud banners, now there were whispers. Where mighty fleets roamed, now only shadows moved. Every planet, every station, every outpost watched the stars in fear arrive. But Earth had gone quiet again, too quiet, and that silence terrified the Empire more than any weapon on the abandoned border station. Draxus 4, a group of scavengers drifted through the wreckage. The Empire had left weeks ago, retreating after one of Earth's ships disabled their fleet without firing a single shot. The station was cold, broken, but still holding power. They left everything, said Corinne, the scavenger leader, weapons, engines, even data cores. Her partner Yarrow looked around. They left in a hurry. That's never good. As they moved deeper, they found something strange, a sealed door, powered and protected by a military-grade lock. This wasn't built by the Empire, Corinne said, running a hand across the strange markings. Yarrow wiped dust off a panel. Underneath was a single word written in Earth's language. They stepped back. Then the lights flickered. The air went cold, and the screen in front of them came to life. A face appeared, pale, calm, and human. It spoke slowly. You found one of us. You were not meant to. The door behind them slid open. What they saw was not a room. It was a black ship, entirely sealed inside the station, waiting, silent, sleeping until now, across the galaxy. Sensors started picking up strange reading ships, appearing without warp trails, silent weapons platforms going active in sectors no one had visited for years. They weren't coming from Earth anymore. They were already out there in the Imperial Research Command on Yarnis Prime. Chief Scientist Havel ran dozens of simulations. This doesn't make sense, he said, showing the results to the Council. These ships, they didn't travel from Sol. They were already placed across the galaxy years ago. You're saying Earth seeded their fleet? Yes, Havel replied. Decades back, maybe longer. Hidden inside moons, asteroids, even old mining stations. But why? A cold answer followed, because they knew this day would come. The people had once called them ghosts. Now the galaxy learned they weren't just ghosts, they were watchers, sentinels, sleeping weapons of Earth's forgotten wrath, and now they were waking up in deep space, far beyond the Empire's reach. An old abandoned relay station sparked to life. A black satellite rose from its ice shell and began transmitting. Aboard Earth's command vessel, Black Silence, Admiral Lee watched the transmission. Another Ghost Fleet node, her AI reported. How many more? Unknown, the AI replied. Their placements were randomized during the Silent Decade. Even we lost track of some. She turned to the communications officer. Reactivate them all. Let the galaxy feel their breath. On Uran Station, a major trade hub on the edge of neutral space, people screamed as a massive black ship uncloaked. Above their city, it didn't fire, it didn't speak, it just hovered silently. And then it began projecting a single repeating message across every screen. This station once laughed at Earth. The people fell silent. No one moved, no one dared. After 20 minutes, the ship vanished without a trace. On Siveron Prime, what was left of the Empire's elite command tried to mount a response. General Tarvik, now hollow-eyed and older by the day, spoke in a broken voice. They're not attacking anymore. They're haunting us. An aide replied, Sir, we've recorded 327 sightings of Ghost Fleet ships across 14 systems. No damage, no contact, just presence, Tarvik whispered. They're watching our fear grow. That's the real weapon. Back on Earth, inside the deep command tunnels, the human envoy stood before a hologram of the galaxy. One by one, red stars blinked into soft blue systems that had surrendered, apologized, or abandoned the Empire entirely. He turned to Admiral Lee. Do they understand? Yet, she shook her head. Some do. Most are still pretending they don't. The envoy said quietly, Then it's time to show them what the ghosts remember. In a forgotten system near the galactic rim, an old war memorial floated quietly. After Earth's humiliating rejection from the Council decades ago, it had once been a joke, a monument of failure. visited only by smugglers and scavengers. One day, a new addition appeared. No one knew how it got there. It was black, made of unknown metal. At its base, a message. We remembered everything. No one claimed responsibility, but nearby, in the shadows of a gas giant, 5 black ships hovered, waiting, watching, in the city of Velser. A once-proud empire world, now gripped by fear, told her students a story. Once there was a planet called Earth, she said, and the galaxy laughed at it. Called it weak, powerless, unworthy. The children were silent, she continued, but Earth did not scream. Earth did not fight right away. Earth remembered, and while they remembered, they built. One child raised her hand. Are they still angry? The teacher looked out the window at the black dot in the sky slowly moving across the stars. No, she said softly. Now, they're just awake. The ghost fleet didn't need orders. It had already been programmed by human hands, lost by memory. Its AI captains didn't speak like humans. They didn't feel, they only remembered the faces of those who laughed, those who mocked, those who voted no when Earth asked for help. Now, they waited, watching those same stars dot the Galactic Council. What remained of it gathered for one final attempt to stop the nightmare. We offer full surrender, the speaker said into the broadcast. All systems, all data. We will disband the Empire. Just stop this. The envoy received the message. He read it once, then replied, We are not interested in surrender. We are interested in silence. That night, across the stars, every world that once mocked Earth received the same message. They called us ghosts. Now we haunt what you built. We are not the past, we are your future. And high above, in the endless dark, the ghost fleet drifted across the stars silent, patient, and eternal. On the burned surface of Keltros Prime, once a rich industrial world of the Empire, nothing moved now but smoke and silence. The cities were gone, the factories melted, the skies dim. The only thing that remained was a giant message carved into the planet's crust so large it could be seen from orbit. We remember. There were no survivors. The message wasn't for the dead. It was for the galaxy. Across space, survivors ran wherever they could. Pirate groups dissolved. Mercenary bands dropped their contracts. Even warlords with stolen fleets tried to hide in asteroid belts. But the ghost fleet found them. One by one, no mercy, no sound, only a dark shape in the sky. And then nothing in the shadows of the collapsed Empire. A small group of rebel worlds gathered in secret. They weren't planning to fight. They wanted to understand. On a quiet moon called Zira, leaders of 5 different races sat together for the first time in history. Former enemies, old rivals, now united by fear of one name Earth. They want, asked High Speaker Vel of the Draxus Union. Revenge, offered the Varnix warlord. We took their voice, so now they take ours. An old, thin senator from the Tarcel sector shook his head. No, it's not revenge. It's something else. What then? Vel asked. The senator leaned forward, voice soft and cracked. Memory. They didn't just kill fleets. They didn't just destroy cities. The ghost fleet deleted entire histories on world after world. Human AI drones entered archives, libraries, and central databases. Not to steal, but to erase. The Empire's records of Earth disappeared. Maps were rewritten. Ancient insults removed. Council minutes that mocked Earth. Gone. Every insult. Every lie. Every voice that once said Earth is nothing. Deleted, like they had never spoken at all. The galaxy began to forget the Empire's side of the story, and Earth's silence became the only truth in the quiet system. Of Kyber 5, a father told his son a bedtime story. Long ago, there was a people called the Terrans. They were kind. They asked for help, but no one listened. The boy blinked. Why not? Because the galaxy believed lies. They said Earth was weak, dumb, broken. But were they? The father smiled sadly. No, son, Earth was remembering. While the galaxy laughed, they built weapons inside moons, ships inside shadows. And when they were ready, they didn't shout. They erased. Not just people. They erased the memory of the insult. Inside Earth's deep command bunker, under the Andes, Admiral Lee watched the final stages of Operation Silence unfold. 10 more Empire archives wiped. 3 more Council servers cracked every file, every voice, every vote that once denied Earth gone. She turned to the envoy. "Shall we proceed to the monuments?" The human envoy looked at the galactic star map. His voice was quiet. "Yes, it's time." All across the galaxy, monuments crumbled. Statues of the Empire's founding council vaporized. Victory walls, celebrating Earth's rejection, collapsed in seconds. Entire museums reduced to ashdot, but on those same worlds, new statues rose quietly in the night. No army delivered them, no ships were seen, only messages left behind. This world once laughed at Earth. Now it remembers what it tried to forget. In a hidden archive on the ruined world of Thyran Ix, a lone historian named Bren studied a preserved document, one of the last remaining council logs from the day Earth asked to join. It was a transcript of the assembly. He read the lines: mocking, laughter, dismissive words, a vote of rejection. Then Earth's envoy had said only this: "You will not remember us now, but one day we will make sure you never forget what you did." Bren leaned back, trembling. "It was a warning," he whispered. "Not a threat, a promise." Meanwhile, in a luxury dome on Varelia, a planet once allied with the Empire, the elite drank and danced. They tried to ignore the fear, to pretend the war wasn't coming for them, until the stars above them blinked and a giant hologram lit the sky. It was a face, the human envoy. His voice, calm and cold, echoed through the air. "Your world was not a battlefield, but it watched and laughed. That is enough." Moments later, every power grid on Varelia shut down. Silence. Darkness. Then came the hum of thousands of drones descending from orbit. They didn't destroy the cities, they rewrote them. Signs replaced. Flags removed, every public record rewritten. In Earth's language, in one line appeared across the capital's highest tower: "We have corrected your memory." In the wrecked remains of the Imperial Council chamber, General Tarvik stood alone, a broken man, his officers dead, his fleet's gone. A light blinked. It was a message from Earth. No words, just a single image: Tarvik himself. Years ago, mocking Earth's envoy during the vote, then the screen went black, and Tarvik understood. They didn't just want victory. They wanted the moment burned into history forever. He whispered, "They're turning us into ghosts." Back on Earth, the human envoy walked through a quiet garden under Earth's sky. Flowers bloomed. The air was calm. The stars above were clear. Commander Nia joined him. "It's done," she said. "The Ghost Fleet has erased the Empire's lie, and the galaxy, still watching, still afraid." He nodded. "Good. That means they remember." She looked up. "Will we stop now?" The envoy didn't answer right away. Then he said softly, "They erased us first. We just finished what they started." Across the galaxy, quiet fell. Not peace, not surrender, just the still, heavy silence of a galaxy that realized it had made a terrible mistake. And in every system, every planet, every Station 1 truth remained. Earth remembered. The last stronghold of the Empire stood on the edge of a dying star. Veltrix Prime, once called the crown of the Empire, was built into the crust of a red dwarf. Its fortresses were buried deep beneath molten rock. Its shields had held for 100 years. Its fleets had once been unmatched. Now it waited. Veltrax was the last light of a fading empire. Everyone knew it would fall. The only question was when. Inside the fortress, Lord Commander Arvin stood alone before the war table. He had commanded legions, crushed rebellions, ordered the burning of 3 colonies. Now he studied a silent screen. It showed the fleet surrounding his world. No movement, no lights, just thousands of human warships, black, sharp, and still hanging in orbit like vultures in the dark. "Don't send messages," his aide whispered. "No threats, no warnings." Arvin didn't respond. He had already tried messaging Earth twice. They had never answered because this time Earth wasn't listening. It was watching and waiting. The people of Veltrax lived in bunkers deep below ground. Families huddled close. Soldiers stood at every door. The sky above was hidden by layers of rock, steel, and defense shields. Still, everyone knew. They're here. The silence outside was worse than war. 3 days passed, no attack came. The human fleet waited not. Then, on the 4th day, all power went out. No alarms, no explosions. Just darkness. Arvin lit a manual lamp, his voice shaking. Switch to backup cores. Already tried, the tech replied. Every system's just dead. It's like they're not destroyed, just erased. Another officer ran in, pale and breathless. Sir, something's inside the walls. Arvin narrowed his eyes. Inside there, not ships, they're drones. Thousands. They're already inside the base. How? The man's voice broke. They were already here. Hidden for years. Waiting. In Sector 7, the drones activated no sound, no Metal Clan KS, just slow, perfect movement, like shadows drifting through steel. They didn't shoot anyone. They didn't speak. They touched walls, terminals, and memory banks. Erasing, not killing, just deleting. History records, .names, .files, all wiped. It was Earth's final message to the Empire. We are not destroying you. We are making it so you were never here at all. Deep below, in Veltrax's Grand Archive, scholars tried to copy what they could. Books, data cores, statues, holovids, but it was no use. Every copy device failed. Every system rebooted to the same screen. Your story ends here. Arvin stood before the High Throne once, a proud place where emperors gave orders to the stars. Now only echoes remained. And then came the first sound from the human fleet. A low signals, just a single repeating word. Remember. Arvin fell to his knees. They were never weak, he whispered. We just never saw them. Back on Earth, the human envoy received confirmation. Veltrax Prime neutralized, no death toll reported, no ships destroyed, just silence. Commander Naya approached. The last Imperial stronghold is gone. The envoy looked out the window toward. The stars know, he said. The memory of it is gone. She nodded. All that's left now are those who watched and stayed silent. He turned slowly. Then it's time they choose. Specor, be forgotten next, in the neutral system of Orion's reach. Hundreds of planets met for an emergency summit. The transmission from Veltrax had shaken them. No bombs, no battles, just erasure. They had all mocked Earth once. Now they feared to even say the word. What does Earth want? One leader asked. Another whispered, not our surrender, just our shame. A silent vote passed that night. Every system that once voted against Earth would now hold a Remembrance Day in a small colony on the rim called Ashra's Field. A group of children gathered under a sky dome. Their teacher told them stories. Long ago, a planet named Earth asked for help, she said. The galaxy laughed, ignored, mocked. One child asked, what did Earth do? The teacher looked up at the stars. They built, they waited, and when they returned, they erased the ones who mocked them not with hate, but with silence. The Ghost Fleet didn't slow. It split into smaller groups. Some drifted into quiet systems, others hovered above. Forgotten planets. On some worlds, they left statues. On others, they projected a single message into the sky. You will not be remembered. As rulers, you will be remembered as a warning. Aboard the Earth command ship Void Rain, Admiral Lee received one final update from the AI Shade. All enemy history systems scrubbed. All primary worlds corrected. All survivors aware. She nodded slowly, then looked at the envoy. Is it over? She asked. He didn't answer at first. Then he said softly, the war ended before it began. This was just the correction. On the silent remains of Veltrax Prime, a lone drone flew across the cold, cracked ground. There were no buildings. Left no records, not even bones. Only dust. It projected one last message into the sky before vanishing. Laughter fades. Memory echoes. We are the echo. The galaxy didn't rebuild, not yet. It didn't start wars again, not yet. It only watched. The stars and remembered the day Earth taught them something greater than fear. It taught them silence. The galaxy had never known true silence, not until Earth answered the laughter. Now, after fleets burned, monuments crumbled, and empires vanished without sound. Silence ruled the stars. No one claimed victory. No one declared peace. There was only stillness. A quiet, endless echo of one truth. Earth remembered in a quiet valley on the planet Kalor. Children walked past a new monument. It wasn't grand. It wasn't made of gold or marble. It was dark, cold, a simple slab of metal. No names, no symbols, only one line carved in basic script. We asked for help. You laughed. Beneath it, another message. This is not revenge. This is remembrance. Tourists didn't take photos. Guides didn't speak. Some people cried. Others just stood still. Reading the words over and over, it wasn't a monument to Earth's power. It was a gravestone for what the galaxy used to be, back on Earth. The skies were peaceful. There were no alien fleets, no warnings, no threats. In orbit, Earth's ghost fleet drifted in silence, forming a shield that stretched across the solar system. Each ship was unmanned now. The A's aboard had finished their task. Earth's defense no longer needed weapons. The memory was enough. Inside Mount Tehran, the heart of Earth's command, the envoy stood before a dark screen. No messages had come from the Empire in days. Nothing. Left to say, Admiral Lee entered quietly. "It's done," she said. He didn't turn. "No," he replied. "Now we wait." For what? For the stars to tell the truth. In the neutral world of Delverne, scholars gathered from across the galaxy to rebuild history. What they found was strange. Records were missing. Entire governments gone, maps changed. They found statues of humans on planets where no Earth ship had ever landed, and the same phrase written across ancient halls and temples. They remembered. What we tried to forget? A young historian from Zavari asked the question aloud. Who truly won this war? His mentor, a silent old woman who once served in the Empire's archives, finally spoke. The ones who made the galaxy remember them. Without firing a shot, but not everyone feared Earth. Some came forward, some spoke, some told the truth. The message was sent from Zyrel's Reach, a small free colony that once rejected Earth's request for aid. We mocked you. We saw your pain and laughed. We believed the lies. And now, we see what you became. You didn't just survive. You became something the stars cannot deny. We do not beg for mercy. We ask to remember with you. The message was received. Earth didn't reply, but the ghost, fleet above Zyrel's Reach, pulled back into orbit. That was the answer. More systems followed, from the deserts of Thaxor to the frozen rings of Marnus III. Entire civilizations began, building shrines to Earth not as a god, not as a ruler, but as a memory, a force that taught the stars a lesson they would never forget. A lesson written not with fire, but with silence. One by one, the broken voices of the old empire tried to rebuild their stories. They sent out messages. We still have power. We will rise again. But the galaxy ignored them, because Earth had erased their voice from the stars. Every world that once served the Empire now marked the day of the correction, the day Earth returned and rewrote history without speaking. On the distant world of Halvaron, where an ancient temple to the Galactic Council once stood, a massive explosion reduced the structure to rubble. No one saw the bomb fall. No ship was tracked, but etched into the crater's glassed ground were words that would soon spread across every communication hub in the galaxy. Let silence be the price of arrogance. Inside Earth's archives, hidden deep beneath the crust, Commander Nia stood before a giant data wall. Every message the galaxy had ever sent to Earth was stored here. Every insult, every rejection, every laugh. One by one, the files turned red. Then, black dot, then disappeared. "Sir," she asked the envoy, "are we erasing the last messages?" He stared at the screen, then shook his head. "No, we're archiving them." She frowned. "Why?" "Because history must be remembered by us. They can forget, they can lie. But we must never forget what they did." The final ghost ship returned home. It drifted into Earth's orbit, silent and dark. Its hull was scarred from centuries of hiding in asteroid fields and lost systems. It carried no crew, only a recording. The envoy played the file. It was a voice, human, young to the stars, who never listened. "We never needed your help. We only needed your respect. Now we take it." The file ended. The envoy turned to the wall and tapped a button. One last message was sent to the stars. Earth is not your enemy. Earth is your mirror. In the ruins of what remained of the Empire's capital, a small boy walked with his mother past an old, broken statue. It once showed a council leader pointing proudly toward the sky. Now its arm had been shattered, a new symbol painted across its chest, a red mark, the mark of Earth's ghost fleet. The boy asked, "What happened here?" His mother didn't answer. Instead, she knelt beside him and whispered, "Remember what they taught us." Who? The ones we forgot, the ones who never screamed, the ones who made the stars. Listen, on a silent station orbiting the edge of the galactic map. An ancient computer rebooted for the first time in centuries. A message blinked on the screen. Asterisk, asterisk, this is Earth. If you are reading this, know that we are not gone. We are watching, we are waiting, and we will never be forgotten. Asterisk, asterisk. Then the screen went dark again, and so the war ended. Not with an explosion, not with a peace treaty, but with a quiet, lasting echo dot. An echo that reached every planet, every people, every memory. An echo that reminded the stars. Asterisk, asterisk, you laughed. At Earth, and then Earth became something you could never silence. Asterisk, asterisk, the stars would never laugh again. Because now they remembered. And Earth was no longer just a world. It was a lesson carved into time, a silence that roared across the universe. Forever. END.